Good afternoon, this is World at Noon. My name is Timileyin Falade. March 8th of every year is designated International Women's Day. The International Women's Day being commemorated today highlights the continuous struggle for gender equality, as well as the work still needed to ensure that women have equal opportunities and rights in all areas of life. The topic for this year's event is Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has pledged his regime's commitment to ensuring equal opportunity for women in Nigeria. Buhari acknowledged the invaluable role that women have played in advancing the progress of the country since independence, saying they have continued to deliver excellently despite all odds. In a statement to mark the 2023 International Women's Day, Buhari promises respect for the rights of women and conscientious commitment to remove all barriers preventing Nigerian women from realizing their universal rights. First observed in 1911, the International Women's Day is marked yearly on March 8 to draw attention to issues such as gender equality, reproductive rights, and violence and abuse against women. The International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, and National Red Crescent Society, NRCS, have reunited 729 children with members of the families in the Northeast. Not less than 24,000 persons left their homes during the 13-year tourism in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states. These were disclosed in the 2022 ICRC Operational Facts and Figures dashboard released in Maiduguri. ICRC Head of Delegation Nigeria, Yan Bonzon, said the concept forced people to leave their homes and continue to live in makeshift camps. Bonzon assured that the body will continue the search for others who have not been found, with a view to uniting them with their loved ones. The Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room has kicked against the decision of Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to reconfigure the bimodal voter acquisition system (BVAS) it used for the presidential election. The Situation Room, which is a coalition of 70 civil society organizations (CSOs) working in support of credible and transparent elections in the country, said it was concerned about the question of preservation of data collected during the presidential and National Assembly elections that held on February 25. The body urges INEC to clarify how it intends to ensure that data collected in the bimodal voter acquisition system (BVAS) used in the election will be preserved for use in the review and audit of the elections. It asked the electoral umpire to ensure that its records and data related to the election are held safely and securely to ensure its use for the purposes of scrutiny and accountability. Some shops have been raised at the Akere Spare Parts Market, Oludiapapa, in Ajegunle area of Lagos State following a fire outbreak early today. The Lagos State Fire Service, however, said its Ajegunle Fire Station has subdued the inferno. Director of State Fire Service, Margaret Adesheye, said upon arrival at 3:30 in the morning, her men discovered that rows of shops that traded in auto spare parts were on fire. Adesheye disclosed that the male adult with gunshot wound was recovered around the scene of the incident as investigations to ascertain the cause of the fire is underway. Gunmen have kidnapped 4 U.S. citizens who crossed into Mexico from Texas to buy medicine and got caught in a shootout that killed at least 1 Mexican citizen. The 4 came under fire shortly after entering the city of Matamoros from Brownsville, the southernmost tip of Texas, near the Gulf Coast. Akinsunde Akinshemola has the detail.
Mexican and U.S. authorities said they were searching for 4 Americans who were kidnapped in the northern part of Mexico after being shot at by gunmen and thrown into the back of a pickup truck shortly after crossing the southern border. U.S. Embassy in Mexico said the 4 unidentified Americans, 3 men and 1 woman, were in a white minivan with North Carolina license plate when they entered Matamoros, a city just over the border from Brownsville, Texas. Mexican President Manuel Andres Lopez said the Public Security Ministry was working with the FBI to locate the missing Americans.
According to the information we have, the U.S. citizens crossed the border to shop for medication in Mexico. There was a confrontation between groups and they were detained.
The White House said it was closely following the situation.
These sorts of attacks are unacceptable. Our thoughts are with the families of these individuals, and we stand ready to provide all appropriate consular assistance. U.S. law enforcement is in touch with Mexican law enforcement. The Departments of State and Homeland Security are also coordinating with Mexican authorities, and we will continue to coordinate with Mexico and push them to bring those responsible to justice.
The U.S. State Department has advised Americans not to travel to Matamoros, in part due to the threat of kidnapping. The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for the return of the 4 Americans and the arrest of those involved. Akintunde Akinshimola for Osrc News.
Protesters have clashed with police in Georgia's capital, Tbilisi, after a parliament backed a controversial draft law which critics say limits press freedom and suppresses civil society. Riot police used water cannons and pepper spray to disperse the crowds outside the parliament building. The government says several policemen were hurt and police gear was damaged. There has been widespread international condemnation of the bill, which would require non-governmental organizations and independent media who receive more than 20% of their funding from abroad to declare themselves as foreign agents. And now to sports. Chelsea legend DJ Drogba has called for better medical checks to protect footballers in his native Côte d'Ivoire after the death of a player during a top-flight game. Recent club D'Abidjan defender Moustapha Sila collapsed during a match against Seoul FC on Sunday and was pronounced dead on the way to hospital. Video of the incident shows Sila stumbling before losing his balance and falling to the ground motionless, prompting opposition players to call for medical assistance. Sila won the 2022 Malian title with Jubliba AC before joining RCA in September last year. And that's World at Noon this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching.